Obituary, so welcome to She's Not Trendy. Our mission is to provoke thought around our situations and circumstances, all while rocking the inner light of God. I'm your host, Tiara.
I'm Tanya.
I'm Slim.
I'm Kimber.
Okay. And we're going to start, as always, with our deal breaker. And our deal breaker today is if you're in a relationship and you both are happy with one another, and he asks that you get enhancements or like liposuction or enhancements. Tanya, would that be a deal breaker for you? Yes, it would be.
Oh no, I mean
It would be a deal breaker.
it would not be.
You
Wait
wait a minute. You would get the enhancements?
No, I would not. It would be a deal breaker.
It would be a deal breaker. Okay.
Well, you was looking at me like, wait a minute, it would be. I'm thinking, what? What's
Okay.
going on?
Okay. What about you, Kimber? That be a deal
It
breaker?
depends on what they were.
Okay.
So again, you know how I am with the demand. He can't demand it.
No.
Okay. We can talk about it,
Okay.
and he can let me know where he thinks some improvement would be, right? And we can talk about it. So
Okay.
I'm not totally,
Really?
like minimally invasive, no major,
He wants you
And
to get
definitely
DBI.
in this
Well, you don't need a.
I don't. Yeah, certain
Yeah.
things I'm good on, but and it definitely would have to be in the U.S. So if he's going to pay for that, I'm not going to other countries and have it done. No Mexico, no Brazil, Dominican Republic. It has to be a U.S. doctor, thoroughly researched. And it depends on what the enhancement is.
What if he wants you to get a big butt? Like,
Again, certain things I'm good on.
right,
so
but what if he wanted to be?
Yeah, I mean, it has
Might
can't be
be
anything
right.
that's going to be instantly a health, red flag,
Okay.
or but a little lipo, maybe a boob lift, certain things I
Like
would be
that.
game for.
Okay.
Maybe a little Botox,
Okay.
yeah, some veneers.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I would do
I
the
can't
veneers.
wear you got
The
pretty
veneers. I would do
Yeah,
that.
but I'm
Need
just saying.
veneers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Okay.
on my list for some reason. I know, but yeah, but yeah, certain things minimally invasive. We can have a conversation as long as he's financing the whole thing.
So it's not a deal
Oh,
breaker.
long
Okay.
It's not a deal breaker.
Okay.
It's up for conversation.
What about you, Slim?
Nice. So that would be a deal breaker because if you're asking me to get enhancements, like you're not pleased with how I look, I'm comfortable with how I look. Like growing up, that's what I'm talking about. growing up, I used to get teased about like not having big breasts because I was like so like slow to develop, and I used to get called like young and the breastless, bold and the
wow.
breastless. So
Oh, my
like.
goodness.
Like I wouldn't want enhancements, and in my mind it's just automatically going to breasts because that used to be like a self-conscious issue for me. But I'm good with how I look right now.
Yeah.
So
As you should be.
yeah, thank you. But that would be a deal breaker. That would be a deal breaker for me. Yeah.
It would be a deal breaker for me too.
Okay.
But it's funny because growing up, I was the only one that didn't have like a butt.
Okay.
So my sisters would call me the wall, right? And
Nikki and Keisha.
yeah, they would
They
call,
lucky they're not here
They
today.
would call me the wall, and it was all fun and games,
Yeah.
But when I got to, I guess like middle school, high school, I was really self-conscious. So I would like wrap sweaters around my waist, and I would be very ashamed because from the front it looked like I was curvy, like I had a butt, but I really did not have like a butt.
Yeah.
So as I got older, like guys would meet me, they would say, "Oh no, I know you got a butt. You know what? I can't wait for you to turn around, but I really don't have one." And I would be so like embarrassed. But now I'm like comfortable with who I am.
You're comfortable in
And
your
it
own
would
skin.
be a
That's good.
total like deal breaker. Cause like I would feel like every time, now like Kim said, if it was like veneers or
Yeah,
if it was
something minimally
something-
invasive, and then it depends on how it's presented to you. Is he presenting it like
like,
first of
well he wants you to look a certain way, and he feel like you could use some enhancement.
yeah, it depends on how it's presented
So
to
it
me.
would be like it would be a deal breaker. because I would feel like Slim, like like the person is not happy with how I'm
Right.
looking,
Mhm.
and I would feel like they're always like stuck on image, and if they like they're looking at other people all the time, and I don't know. Here's the thing, like it doesn't bother me, like for people to. I feel like human nature.
Yeah.
It is okay to like look at admire someone's beauty,
Right.
or to admire someone. You
Mhm.
know, that's human nature. You
Right.
know, I mean, even if like I'm with somebody and somebody got a bang and shit, I might be like, dang, look at because that's just human nature.
Yeah.
But if it's like you want me to look a specific way and that's that important to you that you would pay for that, I don't give them
Right. Well, just think about it like the images that like 21 to like 18 to like 25, what they see. Like that is the trending thing to do to get like
Yeah.
that BBL. So would your answer be the same if we were like in our 20s right now? Do you think we would be saying the same thing? Like if it,
I would hope so. I know my children probably would say the same thing.
okay.
But I mean, I don't know what I would have said back then. By
Yeah.
the time I was in my 20s, though, I was pretty comfortable. Like, I realized, like, it's not really stopping anything. And I would want somebody that was comfortable with who I was as a person. But I do think that a lot of times, with these body images or whatever, it doesn't mean that a person's going to love you anymore.
Right.
It's just going to feel like, okay, I enhanced this person, they're more beautiful,
Right.
but
Still
I mean,
cheat on you.
And you
They
have to
still cheat on
operate.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And you have to operate in health, right? It's so many people that have, to save money, went and had it done in other countries, when they had it done like kind of underground,
Right.
and they're suffering and will be suffering, unfortunately, for the rest of their lives
Yes.
because
Exactly.
they cut those corners just to get this enhancement.
Mhm.
And so when I answer the question, I'm strictly answering from like a fantasy type of place.
Okay.
Like I'm so blessed. My current relationship,
Right.
okay, none of that. Like he doesn't even like makeup, extra hair, long, like
Right.
none of that. I can be as comfortable,
Mhm.
for the most part, as I want to be, until I cross that line. He's like, babe, reel it back in,
Right.
especially during COVID because of the lounge wear and the leggings and I got way too comfortable. He's like, okay, reel it back in,
Right.
But I'm strictly answering that from things that I may have wanted to get
Right.
at one time or another that are, like I said, minimally invasive. You don't want to risk your well-being and your health and all that for a huge surgery that like you said, that person is not guaranteed to love you
Right.
anymore. The relationship nothing's guaranteed. So
Right.
you have to evaluate why you're doing it, but if it's something small that'll make you feel better and make him happy, I will be game.
Right. What about that lady who got the butt implants and she had cement injected?
Yeah.
Y'all remember that some
Yeah.
years ago?
Yeah.
Like you
Some
going through
horrible
all
stories.
that, just
And cement, like your body can't like function.
But there's
with
a lot
that.
of women who actually does that, and then some women don't overcome that; they die.
Yeah,
I know a couple of
absolutely.
people,
But-
who actually went in to get the BBL
Mhm.
and actually gained weight. More weight before they
Wow.
went in, and because they're not even maintaining the weight
Right.
or the mind, the mental state of being healthy or maintaining that.
they want it right now,
Exactly.
right now.
Yeah, because
right
people
here.
they not prepared. Surgery is no joke.
Mhm.
Surgery,
Take a toll on your
it
body.
can take a toll. Like I said, I used to want a few things like years and years ago, but 5 years ago I went through a pretty significant medical situation and I had to get a surgery. And I said after that, nothing is getting cut or, unless it has to be, you know
Right.
what I mean? So that kind of put me into like a different direction as far as wanting what I thought I wanted before
Right.
that. Like was like I said, maybe like a breast lift,
Right.
a little liposuction or whatever. But no, like they're not prepared for that after healing and life after, or the possibility of if that surgery goes left in any way.
Right.
Everything doesn't go according to paper, like how was
Right.
laid
Kanye
out.
West's mother.
Yeah, that was
oh,
a
yeah.
horrible,
She passed
traumatic
away.
situation, of just chasing vanity. She was a beautiful queen, before that.
Already.
We
Yeah.
answer from a woman's perspective, but what about like from a male's perspective? Like, what if like there's a perfect guy, but you don't like something about his body? Like,
I don't think men is as they won't commonly want to do things like that.
Right.
But now they are.
Right, because they got the
Yes,
abs, like
they
the
got
fake
the
abs
they
now.
doing all
Really?
that now.
Yes.
They are
I
now.
swear, I don't know any guys that will
Yes,
be willing.
but they are doing
Yeah.
that liposuction.
None in my family, none
abs.
that I'm close with.
Yes.
No,
Right.
you're
But
not.
they are doing that. They
Right.
getting liposuction.
Wow.
They doing everything. Yeah.
I seen the spray on ones like the airbrush.
No,
That's too much.
That's too much. That's
Too
going
Yeah.
much.
So everybody is a no, and it's
I'm a
possible
passive, small,
It
minimal.
depends on what it is. Veneers, okay, I'll take it. But
I'll take the veneers.
I'll
as
take
well.
the veneers, but
Okay.
everything else I'm a no with. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So
telling
that
you.
brings us to our topic, and our topic today is talking about music
Oh.
and the effects that music has on us.
Okay.
As a human being, and I was thinking about this topic because our atmosphere, what we let into our atmosphere, really
Yes.
does control us.
Mhm.
And did you want to say anything?
I mean, music, that's just a topic just close to my heart. I am a music lover.
Okay.
Ever since very young, multiple genres of music. I've been to many, many, many concerts, all around the world.
Mhm.
Like, I love music.
Yes.
My favorite genre of music is gospel.
Mhm.
Now,
Now.
that's right.
But
That's right.
music, a lot of people think about music so innocently, right?
Mhm.
But music puts out frequencies and vibrations.
It does.
Right? And we all are in a certain vibration. Like
Mhm.
all of us respond to everything vibrates, right? So when you talk about the music, you talk about that's interacting with us, our energy, who we are, our thoughts, our emotions. And it really can control the atmosphere that we're in.
Right.
And so I was doing some research on music. And what I found was that, I think it was like in 1953,
Mhm.
they changed the hertz that all music is tuned in, which is 440.
Okay.
And prior to that was at 432. And 432 hertz. And what a hertz is, I'm going to get this right, is the frequency of the sound wave.
Okay.
And how many times it oscillates per second.
Mhm.
So they were saying like 432 is at the same frequency of the earth. Like it's a natural frequency of your body, of the
Mhm.
earth. Everything is at that
Okay.
harmonious state.
Balance, okay.
So when you take it and you go to like 440, you're no longer in harmony. And so what it does is so what they say is like you're resonating, like the music is resonating at 432,
Mhm.
but when it goes out, it's more at a dissonance. And so it's kind of like you don't recognize it, but your body and everything
Mhm.
is kind of like
Wow.
off. And so I was watching like some YouTube videos, and there was one that really caught my attention. So they use the analogy of you're in your car, you're
Mhm.
driving, you're going to a different state, you have the radio on, then the radio starts to get staticky,
Mhm.
right? And you're like, no, I really want to hear this song, I really want to hear it, so you don't turn it, right? And then after a while, you get so much static that it starts to like irritate you, and you're just like, you know what, let me just turn it. And they were saying like, if you continue to listen to like frequencies that really like it can make you sick, and it can
Wow.
make you sick, and certain frequencies and certain, I guess, like depends on how I want to say it in layman's term, but I guess like how off it is for you. It can really
Okay.
like cause like sickness, illness, like anxiety.
I can believe that.
It can
I
cause
definitely
even
can.
like death.
Wow.
So talking about our music, number one, the industry, I think it was the ISO, which is the they standardize everything.
Okay.
And they standardize that music will be at 440. And so they knowingly did this, and it became like a war on consciousness. I think that the preemptive thought started like in the 1939, and I think it was like the Nazis or something. I know like people say like Rockefellers and stuff. They recognized that this would cause like a war on consciousness. It would cause people to have fear and anxiety.
Oh, wow.
And so the music that we're listening to, even though like a lot of people may have like instruments and they can tune them themselves,
Mhm.
but just listening to music every day, most people are listening to it on a 440. And so that just made me really think about the scripture was saying like, Satan is the prince of the air.
Mhm.
And there's so many attacks that are just, we don't see. They're spiritual
Yeah,
attacks. They're
yeah.
subliminal, they're spiritual attacks. And, people, it's not just the frequency of music, but it's also the lyrics in the music.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I watched a documentary. It's funny that we went deep as the hurts.
Okay.
So this documentary that I watched, it was a study done on classrooms from a teacher's perspective.
Okay.
And the stress from the hurts that we're talking about that it caused them in a classroom. In Germany, they were saying that the level hurts in a classroom, I think, is 650.
Okay.
So just imagine how much anxiety and stress it would cause the teacher, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting. But talking about the music and, you know, the words that's being said, the rhythm, the energy that it puts out. Like, I'm a Sade fan. I love Sade, but I couldn't go see her in concert because I think the energy that she puts out, like with all her music, it kind of brings you down a little bit. Majority of her songs I love. I think she's a dope artist, right? But just to watch her in concert, it does bring your energy down. And it does make you say, like, you know, what is that? Like, what is that? Because I paid for the ticket, I got dressed, I'm here, but now I'm here and I just feel like I want to go to sleep. Because I feel like it's the energy that is being put out, right? And I watched a interview that T.I. did. He said it's not the rap fault that, you know, is causing violence in today's society. He said it has everything to do with the video games, because he said, like, the word ops, like, where did that come from? That came from Call of Duty. My children play Call of Duty, and that's where I first started hearing the word ops, right? And he was also saying that the American what is it, the founding fathers of America, they got this land based off of violence. So he said just to put it on the music is, you know, it's different components.
Absolutely, it's
Different
multi-level.
components,
Yes,
but it is also a rap, and it's not. Sorry, Tony, you want to say something?
I was gonna say I disagree with T.I.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I do believe it is the music.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too.
But not just rap music.
No, not just
rap. Yeah. I think they just want to put it on, you know, hear me, you know, with the blacks and the music. But behind all that is really the ones like the Jews and, you know, the people behind the scenes. Because a lot of times what I hear is that some of these rappers don't want to, you know, display that language or, you know, name calling or just being belligerent at all. You know, but to
can't
make
get a
that
contract.
but to make that money or take care of their family, they actually have to, you know, say those. They don't have to, but they choose to.
They choose to
Right.
for a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That has to be a tough position to be in, though.
Yes,
Well,
if you
be honest,
yes,
to
it
be
is,
fair and
because
honest.
if you came from nothing,
Right.
you
And
know,
they're offering you financial
like,
freedom.
Oh my goodness, I can
quote,
take care of my family, my kids, things
But
like
you're
that.
destroying whole
Yeah.
community.
Yes.
But
I
at the
agree.
same time, you know, we have family members who listen to it. And for me, with the music, like you said, Sade, I love her. I've seen her in concert, but she don't put me in that flat mood.
She doesn't?
No,
Okay.
she put me in an uplift where I'm more loving. Not to say I wasn't loving, but it's like more loving. I want to be, you know, peaceful. Yes, like who's Anita Baker.
I
was
love
the one
her.
that, yes.
I love Anita.
And back in the day, in the 70s, you know, we listened to Teddy Pendergrass. It was like happy music, dance music, things like that, you know. Nowadays, they putting out Bang Bang, Shoot 'em Up, or... Yeah, seriously.
But it's a direct correlation
and
to the state of the world, though.
And dehumanizing our women,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
calling out names. And then not only that, the women actually is being receptive to that. Oh, and they calling their girlfriends, you know, these names. Yes, exactly. You know, things like that.
But the women's lyrics are just as bad.
Yeah,
So,
they are.
Yes.
so
Oh,
they've
God.
sold themselves out for a paycheck as
Yes.
well. But you're right. People don't realize how much power it is in music. You know, there's actually a such thing as music therapy.
It is.
Where they use it to, you know, heal people or cure certain things. But music is very powerful. But yeah, the music now is a direct correlation to the state of the world that we're living in. The world is way worse than it was back in the 80s and the 90s, the 70s, all of that. And all the issues are more aggressive. They're more violent. They're more in your face. I mean, it's unfortunate.
But think about how powerful the music is, right? And you talk about energy that's being pushed out into the atmosphere. This energy is constantly pushed out into the atmosphere. This is an honest experience I had. I remember one morning it was early too in the morning, and I don't know exactly where I was coming from, but I was listening to my gospel music, and I was just, in a state of like peace and praise and just a really good mood. And this lady, like, she was totally wrong. She cut me off, but like she was like literally, you could hear her music pumping, and it was just like this trap music. And I'm telling you, like, she was so angry. She flipped the finger at me, and it just, that whole energy, like, if I hadn't been listening to that gospel music, and I hadn't been already in that state of peace and mind, like, I probably would have like flipped my car back around, and I probably would have had to catch myself, because it was kind of like, it happened so fast, and the energy transmitted itself. So what happens with music, right? You have this, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but when we were like in middle school, maybe we had like cymbals and like the tuning forks and stuff like that, and you hit the tuning forks and you saw the vibration go.
Oh yes.
And basically it would cause like the other, instruments to vibrate or to be on the same, level. So like basically what's happening is the same energy. So you're putting this energy out. Not only is it at a hertz that is causing dissonance, right? But now you're having language and words, and you're having all of these things that is like fueling the frustration. And it's emanating. It's just emanating through everybody. And like, we are a conductor of energy. So like, if we all came in here and everybody had like anger or whatever, we would feel, each person would feel that. You would feel that person's anger. Somebody else could come in and like really have have you ever like been in a room and somebody comes in and you're like, oh my God, don't bring that nasty energy. Don't bring
shift
that nasty,
the whole atmosphere.
It shift the whole atmosphere. That's what's happening subconsciously to us. And it's happening on a level where, as though, like, our kids are coming to school, they're listening to it, right? They're bringing that energy. That energy is bouncing off of the next person, the next person, the next person.
Contagious.
And it's contagious. And I don't know if like it's kind of like, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? It's kind of like, did the music, I mean, we can't blame it all on, it's not all hip hop music.
No,
Even like rap music. And in the 80s, when you had like good hip hop music, it uplifted you. It uplifted the people, right? Because the words were positive.
It was about unity.
It was about unity.
In the 90s.
It was teaching you who you were. It was telling you your past.
Yeah,
and it was educating you.
History.
And it was making you feel really, us as a people, feel really good about ourselves.
Right.
And they changed all of that.
It was by design.
By design.
Exactly.
There were actually meetings that were held.
Mhm.
There was an actual plan put into place for all of this.
It's like Tanya was saying, it's like, we are not even in control of really the music that we're putting out. Either you put it out or you don't get a paycheck, And I think that it's like, now we know. So you have to choose. It's like, look at the destruction it has done to our communities and to our children. And they're wondering why children are taking guns to school. And that they don't, see now. It's not just the music. Even though we're focusing on that, but it's also like the television, it's the video games, it's all of that violent energy. But what gets me is that everybody's not using the radio, but most people are using radios, and even if they're using like satellite or whatever, you still have everything tuned to a certain tune. So you got so many people in that vibration,
hearing it,
and they're just out of whack with the harmony.
And then you have the visual component. You're seeing it on television and all of that, and things have changed from what we saw visually growing up versus what's acceptable now on television and cable and all that. So it really is up to the parents, grandparents, and the family to kind of censor and put those boundaries in place. It was just going to keep getting worse.
It's going to keep getting worse.
I just don't like the message of like being promiscuous, especially with females. Like, I don't like that. All that F nigga, I mean, F, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That song, and, just, have sex with a guy just to get a bag. Like, that's wrong messages that's being put out there to our girls. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. But, all we got to do is just educate our kids, right? And keep them. But not all parents are hands-on. That's the thing. Not all parents are hands-on like we are.
But you have to also, I mean, it's a system, right? We're fighting against the system. And, you know, it's funny because when I was younger, growing up, people were talking about television. And like you had like people saying, oh no, like this rated R's, you know, and the music, and they didn't want the music playing on the radio stations. Everybody thought they were crazy. People said, oh no, they're crazy, you know. They were saying they didn't want NWA being played. They didn't want certain, you know, musicians being played. They wanted to censor them. And it was like, people were like, oh, that's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy. And now look, like you turn on the radio in the clean version. I mean, you like, oh my gosh, this is the clean version. Like, I mean, you can still hear the cuss words coming through, right? And so,
I can't do it. It just puts me in such a imbalance.
It does.
I'm like, ooh, it's like it's just offensive now. And it's like when I think about things I used to listen to, I'm like, how did I even listen to that? You know, but now it just really puts me in a to the left state of being, so it's not even worth it because there's so many other things that's going to be affected by me listening to certain things, you know.
I don't even listen to it.
Right. You know what comes to my mind? I'm thinking about, you know, how the scripture says we're all born into sin and we're shaped into iniquity, right? And when you think about that, like really being in iniquity is really being at peace with the sin that you're in, right? You know, like and when you're in a certain, like when you're listening to certain music and you don't have that come out, you know, of it, it's like it's just second nature. It's kind of like, you know, the cartoons where you have the good and the bad on your shoulder, right? And you make that choice to do bad. You don't hear that good voice anymore. Like you don't hear that voice of reason anymore. Like once you decide, you know what, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do this. You don't hear it's like you subliminally cut off that voice of reason to say, I'm not going to do this. So, you know, like, so when we decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to, you know, you have a night, you know what I'm saying? And you know you shouldn't be having that night or whatever you're doing, but you be like, you know what, be quiet. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, so you cut off that reason and you might even put some music on, right? To kind of like help you transition into that, like, that space,
because,
right?
You don't realize how powerful
because it's
the music
so powerful. And then you don't hear that anymore. So for us, like, that may listen to then we might listen to gospel music. You might listen to something that's like classical or something else that will bring you out of like that space and put you in a really good space. You know, when you go back to that other music, it's like you have to get back out of the balance you're already in to get into that balance. And then it's like almost like you're pulling yourself back into a different like space. You know what I mean? So like when you're like, oh, I'm gonna turn this radio off. I'm gonna put this gospel. I'm gonna put this classical. I'm gonna put this jazz or whatever it is that you're gonna put on. When you cut that other music off, it's like you almost have to, like, to me sometimes fight myself to just transition back over to like something that's gonna bring me to a different space.
Because it's powerful. But people don't realize it, and it has to be a level of consciousness because you're listening to that music, you're not realizing you're coming into agreement with whatever that is, those words, and then oftentimes it's at such a volume, it's loud, like, you know, so it's really going into your inner being, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of power in music.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break right now, and we are going to come back with Slim with the Word, and we're going to finish our conversation on effects of music.
We must secure our families. KFG Life Insurance Specialist is a company that partnered with 15 of the top life insurance companies to ensure you get the best pricing, knowledge, and products to suit your family needs. Some people believe that term insurance is better than whole life insurance, while others feel the complete opposite. Some may feel like universal life is the way to go, and others may feel it's better to have a whole life policy. The truth is, neither of the products are better. One just may be more suitable for your family. Our life insurance specialists are not biased, as they are partnered with several life insurance companies. This ensures our clients get the best pricing, education, and products that are suitable for their families. Let KFG Life Insurance Specialist make these decisions easier for you and your family. Our office is located at Security Square Mall, next to Burlington, in the Coyoteman Show Network. Please call to make an appointment at 443-400-5224 or go to www.lifeinsurancespecialist.org. That's www.lifeinsurancespecialist.org. Let KFG Life Insurance Specialist help you prepare your family in the present because the future is not promised. Act now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to pass it to me. All right, this segment is brought to you by The Word with Slim. You can be sure to follow me on Instagram at SlimGoody with the IE_MVP1. I got some stories, but as always, I'm going to hurry up and jump into it because we got to get right back to this topic because this is a good topic. Yeah. This year is 2022, as we know, right? But do you guys know that this is the year that George Jetson was born?
George Jetson?
Yeah.
Wow.
Follow me now.
Okay.
Walk with me.
I'm
Follow me. I know that came out. But walk with me. Right. Walk with me, talk with me.
Okay.
United Airlines buy 200 air taxis in a $15 million investment deal with Eve Air Mobility. The airline is set to receive their taxis by 2026, according to Fox Business, right? Estimate time for these things to be up in the air is 2050, and at that time George Jetson would have been 28. So remember when we was watching this, he was like in his 30s, and he had a family, and we were seeing this stuff on screen, right? So let me just let you guys know who Eve Air Mobility is. It's a new independent company founded in October 15th of 2020. They are dedicated to accelerating the urban air mobility ecosystem. So, long story short, like, do we think time travel is a thing? Because we was already seeing this on George Jetson. I was watching it.
I believe it because it's in a movie. Anything in a movie, they telling you it's gonna happen or it's already here.
Right.
And that's a fact.
So
I do believe that.
I
A
thought
lot
that
of things do surpass.
Yeah, I believe it.
I do.
You believe in time travel?
I mean, I believe in a lot of things that we saw in the Jetsons, right? I believe that these companies, they have things, even with simple companies, like things that we use in our body or our hair, right?
Exactly.
These things are already created and they're shelved into their release dates, right? They're already created. When they launch it and do this whole promo thing, they're just introducing to us as the public people that's going to be purchasing in it. But these things are long put together and tested and all of that, and they're shelved into their appropriate release dates.
But here's the thing, I don't believe in time travel.
You don't?
I do not, because I'm gonna tell you why I do not believe in time travel. I do not believe in time travel because I believe that God created a system of time for us, and we are under a system of time. I believe that He created the sun and the moon and the stars for times and seasons. Now, do I believe that there are spiritual entities that know about what's going to happen in the future? Yes. And I think that some people are given privy that information, and they're given the knowledge, right? It's like with the pyramids, it's like with, a lot of different things. They're given the knowledge and understanding of how to bring those things into fruition, because we're getting closer and closer and closer to the end time. And so I do feel like it's not time travel. I think time travel is something that they want us to believe in. I guess as a little further away, my personal experience, from God. But I do believe in spiritual entities that have the knowledge of the future. And they are passing it and they're giving it to people. So I do believe in that.
That's pretty interesting.
It was interesting. Yeah.
So moving on, as we talking about music, I don't know if you guys heard, but Little Kim and Megan Thee Stallion did a song together, and the song is called Plan B. It's the sample from the Jodeci song Freaking You. 50 Cent this week posted something, and he was saying that Little Kim was taking shots at Nicki Minaj's son, right? And then he went on to start talking about Little Kim's daughter in her eye, which was a low blow.
Low.
I listened to the song 4 times. I didn't hear any shots that was taken at Nicki Minaj or her son. So if you guys heard the song, and if you want to comment, if something went over my head, please drop a comment. Sanji, I hope you leave it open so they can comment, but drop a comment. I didn't hear anything that Little Kim was talking about Nicki Minaj's son, but Little Kim posted a post saying that, look what God is going to do to him from this day forward. She was just like, kids should be off limits.
They should be. I agree.
Exactly.
They should be off limits.
Kids should be off limits. And I think, my personal opinion, that's a component to the music too. That confrontation, putting beef against two women and stuff like that. I think that puts a different energy out there. Like I told y'all, I listened to the song 4 times. I didn't hear where she was taking any shots at nobody.
I
like
thought 50 Cent took a break. Like he was like a
I didn't even know
a virtual bully for like a long time.
Yeah.
Like
He was a virtual?
like
I don't
as a
know.
grown man, do something
Wow.
else. Like try to find your purpose and walk in your purpose in this life. We don't know how long any of us have left here. Like be more purposeful.
And
Right.
all that money he has, and for me, like that means like
Yeah,
you
what are
got
you
all
doing
that
with
money
it?
and all that success, and you still doing stuff like that. Like
Unhappy,
right,
clearly.
unhappy. Anyway, moving on to our last topic. As we know, football season has started this past Thursday. Yes. The Bills and the Rams. The Bills and the Rams kicked it off with the Bills winning. I think they were 31-10. Yes, 31-10. Bills won. And today, our Ravens played the New York Jets, and they faced our old quarterback Joe Flacco, and of course they won. The score was 24-9. Okay,
Go Ravens.
that's right.
Go
That's
Ravens.
right. Baltimore Ravens Nation.
Yeah, right.
Despite the fact that Lamar still hasn't finalized his contract, we're hoping that this is not going to be a distraction for the team or Lamar Jackson, and we're still looking forward to an awesome season. So that's all I have for you today. Be sure to follow us on Instagram to stay up with the latest and greatest at she's_not_trendy. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in.
That's good.
I just wanted to comment. Now, I'm not a football fan.
Okay.
Me
But
either.
I did see that Lamar Jackson had he turned down the extension.
Yes, he did.
He turned down the extension. So
He did.
I say big ups to him. I say that's great.
He knows his worth.
He knows his worth.
Yeah, not selling yourself out like the
And-
music industry people.
Exactly. Do not sell yourself out. So, yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get back to our topic really quickly. And we're talking about the music, and I was looking at certain things, I saw where Kanye West at one point was talking about the 808, and so I didn't know what that was. So I'm trying to understand what that is, but apparently, like the 808, right, is like the beat of like the drums and stuff, like maybe even like in Africa with the drum beating.
Okay.
And then it's like a very low frequency.
Okay.
Very low. Now they tie all of these frequencies we're talking about, all of the frequencies we're talking about, they tie them to your chakras, right? I don't get into that because I'm a Christian and I believe that the Holy Spirit aligns us the way we need to be aligned. But they are tied to your chakras. And I'm not saying that there's not scientific proof or whatever like that, but I just don't get into it to be my truth.
Yeah.
But I do believe that God is the master, mathematician, scientist. So yes, we are scientific beings, spiritual beings. Everything that he created in the universe is based on science, is based on math. And yes, we are living, beings from that. But the 808 is a very low rhythm. And it's in your lowest, like, root chakra, okay? And so what they were saying is that, like, if you watch, I guess, like, some shows or whatever, or shamans, they say when they're making that beat and then they're talking, it's like it's putting you in a trance. So when that beat is going, it's bringing you down to a trance. Now, we're talking about music, and I'm not just picking on hip-hop and R&B music and rapping. I'm not. I'm just saying that all of this music is affecting us. But when you're hearing, when you're on that low level, and now you're hearing words, and you're and those words you're repeating over and over again, you're now bringing your subconscious into a place where you'll come in alignment with those words that you're saying and you're speaking over and over again.
So true.
So that's not just for hip hop music, it's for all music, even rock, you know, heavy metal. They said heavy metal. I was watching something, they said heavy metal is like the two it puts together, I believe it's like 2 different hertz. Okay. And it really causes like a dissonance. And it's like almost like a death, like a sound of death. Okay, that people are listening to, and they're able to listen to it. Now, most people that hear a sound of death, right? They're like they don't want to be anywhere near anything that sounds like. I think they said the rock and roll, heavy metal music sounds like it's the same frequency of an animal that's in pain and calling out for help.
Yeah. Darn.
Wow.
So yes,
I believe it because I
that
just witnessed this not long ago on the show. I don't know if you guys watch the show America's Got Talent, and there is a large variety of different types of talent, if you will. So the performance that I'm speaking of, it just put me in a whole state of shock. I literally was looking at the television after it, just in disbelief. Okay. It was a minor, a young girl, I don't know, maybe between the ages of 8 to 10. Okay. She laid down this, heavy metal performance that I didn't believe was coming out of this young girl. Okay. The screaming, the screeching, the jumping around, the throwing the hair, it looked like she was possessed, honestly. Wow. That's the only way I can describe it. And then when it was done, they were clapping for her, standing ovations, complimenting her. And she stood right there like that wasn't the same child that was just all over that stage, jumping, stomping, screaming, screeching, yelling. And I looked at the television like, what did I just witness? Right. What did I just witness?
And a lot of people unknowingly are just participating. Like you're just like, I'm unknowingly, you know, like I'm not thinking, okay, what hurts is this on? You know,
you just
right.
You don't have knowledge of it.
You don't have a knowledge of it.
I don't think nobody thinks like that.
Well, musicians may
musicians.
But just and even having a conversation about music, what's really big and conversation now is talking about Beyonce's Church Girl.
I still haven't heard that.
I will not
just
even
a little bit.
Okay.
I heard a little bit, but I've seen all the controversy surrounding it. It's funny because it's a popular pastor that we both follow. I saw that we follow. And he literally labeled her a heathen. And I was like, oh my God. It's
like called her a heathen?
He did. But you know, it's I was a little shocked by that. But that's how serious he was. Really and when he broke it down, I could see where he was coming from because we keep letting these things of the world go. We keep letting them be as if they're supposed to be and not taking a stand against them. But when he said the word heathen out of his mouth, I was done. I was done. But when you think about what a heat, I could see that. Yeah.
You know, and I was watching this lady and she was supposed to be like a pastor or a prophetess. I don't know what she was, but she was talking about, now here's the thing. As people of God, yes, that is who Christ died for, right? We are not judging anybody and saying that everybody should be singing gospel music. That's not what I'm saying, right? Christ came to save the lost, right? So we shouldn't be judging people. However, this woman is knowledgeable and she made some decisions, right? And I think that when you are so blasphemous and you become so blasphemous, it is intentional. Now, does she still need prayer? Absolutely. Should we still pray for her? Absolutely. However, what she is doing, and I think that as Christians, I stopped listening to her. You know, I stopped listening to her. I stopped listening to Jay-Z because of the simple fact that I feel like they are like these. They've become so big and they're not using their power or their voice to change or heal, and I think that like all this blasphemous stuff that they're saying out of their mouth, even when, she, talked about, the Bible scriptures and the tampon, like use it as a tampon, like even all of that, I think that sometimes it's rap and it just gets out of hand. I don't listen to, Lil Wayne anymore. After he used the lyrics, beat that P like Emmett Till, I was just like, oh no, I can never listen to him again.
He said that?
Yes, he did. And when I heard that, I was like, man, because I really like listening to him, you know. And it's just like the same thing with Beyonce. It was some music that she has in her past that I really like
That's
listening
my
to.
girl.
But I can't listen to her. I can't
It
support.
was.
For
like,
some reason, I disconnected
Yeah,
a while
a
ago.
long
Now
time
I've seen
ago.
her in concert many
Me too.
places, many times, but years ago now at this point, it's something that transitioned, and it's a disconnect. It was truly a disconnect. But so when we go back to talk about how some of the artists sold themselves out for a paycheck, right? That's not even her level at this point. She doesn't have to do this for money.
No, she doesn't.
So you're just conforming to the ways of the world and putting your Christianity to the side.
Do you think she doesn't have to do it? She has to continue to do what she's doing, and she has to actually, to me, get the more money she gets, the more power she has, the more platform she has, and the more she has to do what she's doing. Or
Tiara, that woman does not have to work another day in her life.
You don't have to work, but when you're tied into this spiritual stuff, like I don't even listen to her music like that anymore. But some of the stuff that she's tied that I've listened to is ritual.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and to me, I feel like, it's kind of like If I say, you know what, Kimber, I'm going to give you this $1 million to go in that neighborhood and kill everybody, you get that $1 million, and you're like, I'm out. You don't get out that easy.
No, like
you're going to die. I'm like, I'm not trying to be funny, but I want to be like, okay, who she thinks she is? Like, I'm not going to give her this power, this platform. She think that she don't got to continue to work for me. Like, you're tied in.
It's an obligation.
It's an obligation. It's just like when people are deep, deep, deep in like the drug game. Like, you don't just say I'm rich now.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm
a
out.
trap. You
Like,
gotta
you
keep
in a
on
trap.
doing
You
it.
have to keep doing it. So I feel like,
that's sad. It's just so sad.
It's very sad. But I've stopped listening. I just think that we have to have a responsibility. But yes, it's kind of like, I like cookies. You know what I mean? Like, I want to eat them, but you have to kind of say, you know what, I had enough. Or I'm not going to eat this kind of, you know what, at least, girl, don't eat no more of that, because that is just Oreos is like too many calories.
Yeah, those
right?
golden Oreos. Yeah, we need to have a discussion. That Nabisco.
Yeah.
We need to have a discussion.
I just walk past it and I'll be like, you know what? It's just the cost is too much.
And then it's trickery involved, because then they made the thin ones, right? They made the thin ones to trick you, to make you think that you're eating less. But then if you eat a certain amount of them, you're still eating the same amount.
Exactly.
It's all a trap.
It's all a trap. Same thing with the music.
Smoke screen and mirrors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Anyway,
But,
sorry.
I do think that Beyonce, I don't listen to her, but I do know that she do help some of our young girls to love themselves. I don't think all her music at this time, I haven't heard the new music, but I don't think all the music is, bad.
Like that
Or
song she had,
Jay-Z, because Jay-Z
Brown Girls.
Exactly.
That was beautiful.
Listen, the devil transforms himself as an angel
yes.
of light, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, like, because that's what keeps you trapped in there. So then you buy the album and you think, oh, Brown Girls is on here. But there's also some other mess on there, too, right? And when you're dressed up like, I just feel...
But that's what I don't want to say everybody, but some pastors,
Yeah,
so,
and some pastors you need to leave out of their church, because again, the devil transforms himself as an angel of light, and so do his imps, right? And so,
but it's only for a time limit. He can't continue to do it, forever.
He
can't portray good forever, because that's not what he is.
Right, and neither can she, right? Because I'm just saying it like this, like, yes,
but that's.
If you're always going to be light, then you are light.
Right.
If you're just transforming yourself as light for a while, you're just doing it to trap people in and say, come over here, it's light. Then they get you over there, and they got a whole bunch of stuff that you're dealing with, right? So
other agendas and things. But
agendas.
I do agree with you in the fact that, sorry, I lost that train of thought.
That's all right. That's all right. So I do think that we can pick, yes, there may be something that's good. I'm not saying that that's not good, right? But I am saying that I don't think that there's enough good to support. I don't think that, to me, as people of God, Christians, and I heard this one guy say today, he said, Muslims would never, like, if she said that she took the Holy Quran and used it as a tampon,
wow.
Do you think a Muslim would actually, first of all, every Muslim husband would be like, she's not, if you ain't going to listen to her in this house. And on top of that, there would be no Muslim that would sit and support her and say, oh, no, listen, at the end of the day.
Yeah, argue about this what she meant, or this what she meant,
that
or
she
wasn't
need prayer,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah. I think that the church is just, we have let so many things in.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, the music and the frequency and the subliminal discord that's coming into us. Some of the stuff we can't even help.
Yeah.
Like, we have to balance that stuff off with, actually prayer. We have to actually make sure we're listening to the right things. And it's not just the type of music, it's the words in the music as well.
It's so important what you let in.
It's very important what you let in and who you're becoming. And I listened to this one lady. She said, y'all leave the Clark sisters alone, because apparently she laid her track over the Clark sisters' music. Now, I haven't listened to it, and I refuse to listen to it. But she was like, now this is a pastor, and she's saying, now, if y'all was the Clark sisters and somebody called you and said Beyonce wanted to use your song, would you question that? Would you ask why? And I think to myself, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Like, you're going to sit here and say, like, this person doesn't have any accountability because they just said it's Beyonce?
Because their status.
Well, you have to realize, too, in the music industry, just because you're an artist and you sang that song doesn't mean you have full rights to that song. So she may not have known, first of all, what she was agreeing to. And it may not that decision may not have just lied with her. So I don't think she should get the blame for that project moving forward and having accountability.
I think they still had to ask because they used her music. Now, maybe the lyrics of the song, somebody else could have sung it if a songwriter wrote it. You know what I'm saying? But if Shanae writes a song and you sang it, and I want to use how you sung it, I have to call and ask, can I use your music? Even though she's the songwriter. Now, if you say no, you can go to the songwriter and say, listen, because I know, who was it? Joe and Tyrese used to sing some of the same songs. You'd be like, wait a minute, they're singing the same exact song.
But so it depends. It depends, right? So if she doesn't own all the rights to that song, she doesn't necessarily have to get that. It's common courtesy.
Right.
Just like there was briefly an issue going on with Khalees
Mm-hmm.
and her using her song. She never went to her. Well, probably because Khalees may not have owned that song or the rights to that song, and Beyonce was able to use it. So it just depends. But the Clark sisters, I think it's a respect thing that she went to her.
See, I don't know what actually happened on the business, and I'm talking about what the reasoning of the pastor was.
Mm-hmm.
And the reasoning of the pastor was that, who would ask? She said, well, who would ask? It's Beyonce. And I'm saying, so I don't know what the legal situation was. I don't know what the reasoning was. All I know is just they had a thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay because it's Beyonce. And I was like, this is absolutely crazy, and we have to absolutely get it together. How do we get it together?
I'm sure she had no clue,
Well, maybe
I would
she
be
did.
on
Maybe
it.
she
If I
did.
had sang a song long time ago and Beyonce people come and ask me, hey, can we use this? And you're just like overwhelmed with joy.
As a gospel singer, and you would be overjoyed.
Because she has put herself out there as a Christian woman.
Who has?
Beyonce.
Beyonce is on.
She said she prayed to God. She didn't say what God.
And she's on an album cover as that goddess. That's what's that goddess? I can't think of the name, but she's dressed in that yellow dress.
Yeah,
this is her new album.
No, this is not this album. It was an album she had a few years ago, and she's on this. She's dressed as this goddess, and this is not Christian at all. So I'm just saying, like, she's not a Christian woman. Like, she's not singing any gospel songs. She's not a Christian woman
anymore. You remember she played in the movie?
Well, she played in the movie.
Yeah,
that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that's what I said. It's a transition that happened somewhere along the line, and that's where my departure came. Okay. But, I mean, I'm sure the Clark sister that approved this was not thinking that it would have been something that would have brought this much negativity to her, as well as to the gospel world, as well as I just can't believe some of the lyrics.
I just know, for me, and I'm not a Clark sister, and I'm not a gospel singer. If Beyonce had came to me 3 years ago, I would want to know, will you use my stuff? Well, first of all, I'd have said no, because I just feel like, again, money should not be the bottom line. I would just have said no, because I don't support her.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I think that, a lot of stuff that she's out here singing, even when she's singing these songs, now listen, some of them songs is hot and they are sexy, okay? But she's got a husband and she's not doing this stuff, and you're teaching these young girls, like, just like I feel like with like Cardi B and stuff, like you're singing this music and you're teaching your young Hispanic girls, your young black girls, even young white girls, right, to behave in a certain way. Right? And that's not the values that you hold, because you're married. And you took that really serious because we know through your music. You know what I'm saying? So like, why is that something that you're doing just to get money? So I don't know. I think that we do have a responsibility to, knowledge is power, to put it out there, to say what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And I don't know how you change, the ISO decision. I guess you can't. They know what they're doing. It's programming. Right, but I don't know. I just wanted to bring that to attention. And,
that's a good. This has been a great topic. It can actually go on and on because it's so multidimensional.
Yes.
So
we want to take a break and skip over to Kimber, kicking it with Kimber.
Okay, ladies.
Yes,
thank you. Okay, so I just want to talk briefly about this new program that Bank of America has dropped. Now, don't get this twisted. I know some of my segments have been about other states and cities and everything. I'm not trying to get anyone to move, but this information, share it if you have loved ones, friends, or whatever in the area, and they could, use this information. So basically, they came out with a new program, and it is a pilot program. So it's only in 5 cities. So they are doing home loans, mortgages in Black and Latino areas in the states, in the cities of Los Angeles, Detroit, Dallas, Charlotte, and Miami. So those are some nice places, So the funny thing is, there is no closing costs. No down payment. It's kind of one of those too good to be true, like you may
the interest rate. Probably.
Yeah, no minimum or maximum. They're just strictly going by the your earnings and your payment history on things like your car insurance, your utilities, your rent. Why are you looking at that? Shanae like, dang. And your cell phone bill, which is funny. Your cell phone bill, yeah. So this is what they. Yeah. So it's first time home buyers. And like I said, Latino and Black communities is certain zip codes that, so if you're interested in this program, go ahead and do some additional research, find out if you're in that area, if you qualify, and if not, pass it on to people you may know that could use this opportunity to become a homeowner. But definitely do your research. Like, ask all the questions because it's like one of those too good to be true. And so I guess if it has a level of success, they'll be rolling it out in additional areas. I know Bank of America, their home base is in Charlotte, so that makes sense for them to, that be one of the first city and states or whatever. But and I do suggest too, no down payment, no closing costs. The credit score they're not considering, but use this opportunity, but still build your credit, right? Still get a savings going, like use this as a stair step to achieve home ownership. Don't be lazy with your finances because other things does take decent finances and credit scores, and that's just not the way the world works. But if you can qualify and take advantage of this program and use it as a stepping stone to get things built up or buy you more time, definitely do that.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Good information.
Very informative.
So we're going to wrap up our show today, but as always, we want to, remember to rock the light, and light is energy. And we want to be sure that we are, focusing on the words that we're saying. We talked about music, but music is also made of lyrics. So we want to make sure we're using positive words and positive affirmations because we can also align ourselves back, with a positive balance and energy. Even if you're listening to the wrong things or whatever, you can always align yourself back with speaking positive affirmations over yourself every day. And you can also just make sure when you're talking to your friends and your loved ones, use positive words. Even if you have, like something that you want to bring to their attention, it's always good to just stop and think about the energy that you're going to put out before you approach that person.
Be intentional.
So be very intentional. And you can catch us next week at 5:00. She's Not Trendy on CoyotemanOnline.com, as well as check us out on Facebook and IG. Thank you and have a great week.